Manhole. Seriously. I know what it means, but if you really think about it, it's your anus. Hello, 안녕하세요. I'm Shadow Rage. Welcome to Cinemarea, where we only talk about South Korean movies and dramas. Manhole. Why is that a word? I know what it means. It's still hilarious. But today's movie isn't. And that's not a bad thing when it comes to thrillers. Let's take a look at the 2014 thriller Manhole, or Manhole. The movie stars Jung Kyung-ho, Jung Yu-mi, she was the pregnant lady in Train to Busan, Kim Se-ro, she was the little girl in The Man from Nowhere, Choi Deok-moon, and others. There's a serial killer living under the streets of Seoul, and he uses a manhole to trap his victims. When he kidnaps a young girl, her father gets hellbent on finding the kidnapper. Meanwhile, an older sister loses her younger sister, and eventually they all end up in the sewer. And what follows is a movie that really surprised me in a way. This is a very dark movie. I mean, it's literally dark. Even the daytime shots are darkened. That's a bit too much. But the atmosphere is also very dark. Certain elements of this movie are pretty fantastic. I was impressed by a lot of things, but Manhole also has a huge problem. But more on that a little later. Manhole is a very well directed and well filmed movie. What mostly kept my attention was the way the cinematography was able to add a lot of incredibly stylish shots to the movie without ever getting pretentious. All of the visually great scenes added a lot to the atmosphere. As dark and twisted as this movie is, there are some truly beautifully filmed scenes. Some of the lighting was incredible, not to mention the sets. Most of the movie takes place in the sewer and it never gets boring visually. There are some truly disturbing scenes here, despite them not being overly graphic. Certain scenes are able to create some good tension, especially as the movie really gets going, and the actors are also trying their absolute best. Honestly, a lot of times I just went like, wow, that was incredible. Wow, that was great. That's a really cool idea. That was really good. I'm enjoying this. Things like that. The strong parts of Manhole are really strong, and I highly recommend this movie in spite of what I'm about to say now. Manhole feels like a movie that had a fantastic director and a terrible writer. The first act of this movie is an absolute mess from a storytelling point of view. It jumps all over the place and it just doesn't flow well at all. You're presented by quite a lot of people you don't know at all, and most of it honestly feels just like scenes stitched together, but it doesn't really click. But there's another huge problem. The movie doesn't have characters. Seriously, no characters. You don't get to know anyone in this movie. The film tries to tell us so much in the first act that it forgets to introduce the characters properly. The problem with this is that Manhole could have been something that is close to a masterpiece. It's so beautifully presented, but I can't hide the fact that I just didn't care about anyone in this movie. The actors are truly giving their all. They act very appropriately in situations. Some of them have some good scenes, but they have no personality. And it's true for the villain as well, and it's a little bit upsetting because there's a flashback scene in the movie regarding the killer's past that implies some sort of a trauma, and it never gets explored. The movie sets up this great idea, maybe getting into the head of this ruthless killer, but no. And I know that a killer doesn't necessarily have to have a motive, but if it doesn't, don't imply that he does. This really bugs me because if I cared more about the characters, certain sequences in this movie could have been so much more powerful. There could have been some really intense and some really dramatic moments, which I still enjoyed, but it could have been so much more. With all that said, I'm still gonna give this one a positive rating because of how the director was able to present this movie. The thought and the care that went into its creation truly paid off. Some of the scenes can be easily called horroristic. It's really an uncomfortable experience, in the best possible way. This is a good movie. If the characters were stronger, this would have been great. I'm gonna give Manhole 70%. If you like it when a movie's look is able to create a uniquely twisted atmosphere, go watch this. You'll have a blast with this one. If you like to watch strong characters in a movie, you might get a little disappointed. I was a bit too, but still, I was really impressed by what this movie was able to achieve. I did not expect this movie to be this stylish. Yeah, go watch this. 여러분, 오늘은 여기까지만 해요. 영상 봐주셔서 감사합니다. 이 영상 좋아하면 구독해주세요. See you very soon. 다음 시간에 만나요, 여러분. Bye!